The Book of Souls.
Not just any ordinary album. It's a double 92-minute long album.
Here is the cell of a man. Here in this place for the taking. Clothing in white, stand in the light. Here is the soul of a man.
Have released some disturbing news today. They stated that vocalist Bruce Dickinson has been diagnosed with cancer and has already undergone 7 weeks of treatment. The cause is a cancerous tumor on the back of his tongue.
News was announced on the iconic heavy metal band's website and social media accounts on Thursday.
Clearly with this news, I mean, I would think that any Maiden activity is on
We were
hold.
all, blown away when we heard the news.
Time to speak with the shame on again.
I want everyone to wish Bruce Dickinson nothing but health and happiness, man. Bruce, get well soon, buddy.
Black dog in the ruins is howling my name. So here is the soul of a man.
Hey, it's gone, so see, I'm all right.
Now we finally tackled the final Iron Maiden album in the entire discography at the moment, known as the epic double album, The Book of Souls. What's funny is, even though it's a double album, to me it doesn't really feel like a double album. Sure, it's a double album in length and all, it's just so long that it happened to be a double album. It came out in 2015, and the artwork is pretty cool. We finally see a good-looking Eddie. Last Eddie looked like dog shit, and the last couple Eddies weren't that great. This one is Eddie in the forefront, and it's kind of like the first album where it's just all focused on Eddie. In fact, it's so focused on Eddie that the background is completely blank. And this time Eddie looks like a Mayan warrior, and he looks pretty badass. Definitely one of the best Eddies and the best concepts. It's kind of like going back to the Power Slave days where it's ancient Egypt. Now it's like the ancient Aztecs and stuff. Now I also want to talk about the direction of this album, because a lot of people keep saying that, hate the new Iron Maiden, like they just keep getting longer and longer and longer. But this album actually marks an interesting turn, because musically, this album is actually very much a throwback album. There's a lot of points on the album where they're kind of continuing this new idea, throwing some new ideas in there. But it doesn't really sound that much like The Final Frontier or Matter of Life and Death and all this kind of stuff. It sounds like there's a lot of songs like Death or Glory and When the River Runs Deep that really trying to sound like 80s Iron Maiden. And even the epics on here, the Red and the Black and like even parts of Book of Souls, really sound like 80s Iron Maiden then. And what else is really great is like The Final Frontier, it seemed like they were aging very badly. There was a lot of points where they were really slow, and a lot of the solos were kind of shitty. But with this album, they literally stepped it up to a whole nother level on every single way. They were firing on all cylinders. The solos on this album are some of the best solos since like Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. Adrian Smith is badass as usual, but he adds even more solos to this album than usual. And Dave Murray, holy crap, he finally steps it up and finally puts a bunch of really great solos all over the album. And it makes Yannick look really bad, because Yannick contributes probably the least out of all the soloists, and his solos just aren't that great compared to the other two. But his writing contributions are still pretty good. And what else is interesting is there's some new ideas being thrown on this album in the form of their very first suite. It's like 18 minutes, and it's super epic, and it has a lot of like symphonic power metal sort of vibes going on there. And instead of being a suite like 2112 where it feels like it's in different sections, it feels like the song just keeps going and going and going and going. It has a really great flow to it. The production is actually pretty decent on this album. It actually sounds pretty raw, but in a good way. Like, it has this really cool throwback sort of sound to it. And the mixing is all really well too. What else is pretty interesting is that Bruce said that they recorded the whole album with the band, recording it live like usual, but they all recorded it literally at the exact same time. The members all give really good performances. Bruce Dickinson especially sounds way better than he did on Final Frontier. He plays it safe in a lot of areas. He sings lower when he needs to. There's definitely a lot of parts where he's strains horrendously, and he even contributes some amazing songwriting here. Steve Harris's bass sounds really good throughout the album. There's some good bass work going on, and Nico McBrain sounds way faster than The Final Frontier. So we start with If Eternity Shall Fall. This song is a really great way to open the album, and it was leftover song from the Bruce Dickinson solo album that he was working on. Reminds me more of like a Caught Somewhere in Time opening, where it's more of an epic, like pounding song as opposed to like a short, punchy one. But this one might be my favorite Iron Maiden opening track ever. And once again, they try to rectify every wrong with Final Frontier. This album, they spent a lot more time on it, and a lot of these songs that are long for a reason, unlike many songs in Final Frontier. Every song goes somewhere and has enough time to go many cool places. It's like reminiscent of Satellite 15, The Final Frontier, where they have like a weird experimental opening. And this time they have like synthesizers that kind of get this weird Mayan vibe, and Bruce is singing some really cool haunting vocals. It kicks into a really, really great slow gallop that sounds very epic. I remember the first time I heard this, I was like, fuck yes! We finally get something that's better than Final Frontier. And it sounds so much like they gave a shit with this song. It's so heavy, it's super melodic, and it's even the first Iron Maiden song that's in like a lower tuning than E. The riffs in here are absolutely fantastic, and it was written solely by Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson sings really great throughout the entire song. He sings it lower and more passionately. The chorus is really great. He kind of strains a tiny bit, but I think it works really well. Then they go to like a cool little instrumental section that's not too long, it's not too short. It's reminiscent of the good instrumental sections on A Matter of Life and Death, but it's even more punchy, it's even more sounding like classic Maiden. That's why I say this album is kind of a throwback, because pretty much every instrumental section on every song sounds like the stuff from like Power Slave. There's some really great riffs here and amazing bass work, and then you get back to that chorus and Adrian is playing some amazing guitar solos. And then that goes into this like cool outro part, and the ending is very haunting. You hear Bruce using these vocal effects. And the acoustic work here is really good.
I'm fond of the dead.
Then we get to the single, The Speed of Light. I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, this is fucking terrible. Bruce does a terrible scream over cowbell. I'm like, what is this, No Prayer for the Dying? That actually goes into a really cool throwback riff that sounds like stuff from the early 80s with Paul Di'Anno. It's a really good riff, and Bruce Dickinson sounds decent. It sounds like he's kind of trying to sing like Paul Di'Anno or something. It's weird. But then that pre-chorus is awesome. They throw this really great lead guitar riff in there, and Bruce sounds pretty good there. And then you have the chorus where Bruce is hitting that great high note where he's saying, "Shadows in the stars!" And you have a really cool instrumental section where you have Dave Murray and Adrian playing some back and forth solos like the good old days, and you have a really cool little lead guitar section. The intro kind of sucks balls, but it sounds so throwbacky. It's hard not to like this song, honestly. Then we have the generic song title, aka The Great Unknown. I still don't get what the fuck this song is about, but regardless, the intro sounds pretty cool. It sounds a little bit like maybe A Matter of Life and Death type of stuff. And this would be like a song that I would say that they did this during the Final Frontier era. This song would have been like 9 minutes. They would have dragged it on for fucking ever, but it's only like 6.5 minutes. I even still feel it's too long because they have an outro that just repeats the intro for like ever for no reason. During that melodic intro, I absolutely love it when Bruce says, "Winter slowly falling to the ground." It starts to get into it, and it picks up into this really cool riff that's kind of like a slow gallop. It kind of sounds like, oh, we've heard this before, but it's decent. Then that build up to the chorus is actually really cool. The drumming's more up-tempo. Bruce is hitting some great high notes. And then it goes into a really, really good chorus. And the high notes he hits in that chorus are great. And then it goes into like a Yannick guitar solo. And then instead of going into a verse, it goes into the build up to the chorus again, right back into the chorus. You have another Dave and Adrian trade-off solo work going on here, and some really good riffs and melodies being held here. But I just think that ending part kind of sucks. They just keep droning on forever. Then we have one of my absolute favorite songs on the album, and this song seems to be kind of polarizing. Usually you'll either see people say it's the best song on the album, or you'll see people say it's the worst song on the album. I've never seen anyone say it's one of their like more whatever songs. You either fucking hate it or you fucking love it, and the reason for that is that this song is super, like, throwback-ish, and it's the, like, Steve Harris epic, and he completely does everything right here, like, that he did wrong on When the Wild Wind Blows. The song goes somewhere, which is one of the biggest problems with The Wild Wind Blows. It starts with a cool little quick bass solo thing, but then it goes right into the action, kind of like Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and it basically sounds a lot like Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. He actually based the song structure of the song to be kind of identical to that, and then it goes into the verse where you have some cool lead guitar melody lines and Bruce is like singing along with those, and then you have like a cool chanting sort of chorus, and then you go to like a new verse that sounds a little bit better, and Bruce sounds super passionate here. They go into another chanting sort of thing, and then they go to like another verse and then another chorus, a lot like Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner again. It's definitely not as technical as that, but it's so awesome to have a song written like that. And then you go to the awesome actual chorus of the song. It's kind of a lengthy chorus, but Bruce does such a great performance here, and the lyrics here are pretty cool. Then right after that chorus ends, they go to one of my favorite Iron Maiden riffs ever. That lead melody is so incredible, it makes me want to start jumping up and down. And then they go to a really great instrumental section that's like really well written. It's pretty much half of the entire song. This song's like 13 fucking minutes. One of their it's I think equal in length with Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. First you have a really great guitar solo from Adrian Smith, and then you have this like riff that comes in that's kind of the main riff of the song, that like awesome kick-ass gallop, and I believe Yannick Gers does a guitar solo over this section. And that goes more to a cool groove, and Dave Murray does a really great solo. There's some more riffs in this section that are really cool. Then you have Adrian Smith coming with this really pounding solo. Then you go to the best part of the song, the punchy, fast-paced instrumental section, where it just starts getting really fast and building up to something great. And then it repeats this section, but this time with more melodies, more fierceness, and then when you think the song's about to explode with this new amazing melody, it all of a sudden goes to this like really badass bass-led riff. The triple lead guitar work here is astoundingly good, and then it goes perfectly back into the chanting and into that bass intro again. And probably the best Steve Harris epic since like Passchendaele or Sign of the Cross. Then we have a really awesome song, When the River Runs Deep, that no one talks about for some reason. I mean, the intro's pretty bad. You have Bruce Dickinson like doing these horrible strainy vocals, but the synthesizer, like synthesized guitar that Adrian's playing sounds really awesome and throwbackish to like the Seventh Son days. And the song is really fast tempo, it's really punchy, it's really cool, and Bruce Dickinson sounds really great here, especially in that like pre-chorus section. He's hitting some really, really great passionate high notes. Then you can go to that kind of more groovy chorus that's really great. And I love the title of the song, When the River Runs Deep. It's so Iron Maiden. And then it goes into a great instrumental section that's totally throwbackish to the days of Power Slave, where it's a short, punchy song with a great written instrumental section that sounds pretty progressive. There's some great melodies everywhere, and in between each solo they have this really catchy melody that they keep playing. First you have this really great solo from Dave Murray, a pretty good solo from Yannick Gers, and then an amazing solo from Adrian Smith that adds a lot of atmosphere. An amazing song that's so underrated. Then we have pretty much the ending of the first side, The Book of Souls, another epic, and it's like the best songs off this album are all the really long ones. The Book of Souls is the Yannick Gers epic, and like the tradition of Yannick Gers epics, he always makes the first half slow and epic, and the second half fucking speedy all the way through. And like the tradition of his newer ones, he starts with a quick acoustic intro, but it does not go on for fucking ever like it did on The Talisman. It's a lot more to the point, and it's really atmospheric, and this song is actually about the Mayans and stuff. So it goes into this badass slow riff, and it sounds a lot like Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, the title track. It's so slow and epic and builds atmosphere. And this is going to sound like craziness, but actually kind of like this song more than Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I like the main riff to this more, and I actually like the chorus a lot more. You know, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son is a really dumb chorus compared to the lengthy, well-written, and incredibly sung chorus on this song. And the verse is fucking badass. Bruce is singing so fiercely and mean, and the melodies they have going here, along with the keyboards, add this epic atmosphere that not even Seventh Son could touch. And like I said, that chorus has some incredible melodies going on there. The triple lead guitar work here is so incredible and at its top form on this song. And this song is about 10 minutes, and it makes use of its time once again. It's not like cramming a bunch of stupid shit in there, because half of the song, all of a sudden, it goes in like this more melodic, slower vibe for a couple seconds, then it goes right into that fucking fast tempo part that's so throwbacky, yet just like a Yannick Gur's epic. It's up-tempo, Bruce is singing some great high notes, great passionate notes, and there's some amazing lead guitar work all over the place. It keeps changing, and there's a lead guitar riff that leads into every great guitar solo. First is this amazing solo from Dave Murray. Bruce comes in, sings again, more melodies, a great solo from Yannick Gers, more melodies, Bruce sings again, a great solo from Adrian Smith, and then there's some more riffs, and Adrian Smith ends it with an amazing, amazing guitar solo, and it returns to the amazing acoustics. One of the absolute best Iron Maiden songs ever.